California devastation. My condolences to everybody in California. I'm a realist, and when I talk about everything that has to do with real estate business, I look at it from a reality perspective. There's a ton of emotion running in California right now, and my heart, my blessings, my love, and condolences go out to all the families, everybody that's being affected by this, directly or indirectly. I always tell you that where there's times of distress, there's opportunity. It's those that take advantage of the opportunity that actually help fix and repair the distress. So you can focus on the problem or you can focus on the solution. And I'm a solution-based professional, and everything I do is based on finding solutions to problems. And so not only are they putting out fires in California, but once the fires have stopped burning, it's time for us to start putting out fires, financial fires, fires and opportunities that go in to help rebuild what's happened in California. And there's opportunity here for absolutely everybody, not just people in California, but people from other states. Now you can invest remotely, you can invest locally, or you can go in and move to California. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm not going to get into politics. I'm not going to get into all of the crazy chaos. There's about 20 different videos that I can record in this one single incident that happened in California. We don't have time for all of them today, so I'm going to stay focused on where the opportunity lies and what you should be paying attention to right now. Now, we're going to go over a ton of information, a ton of opportunity, and then over the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to start dropping videos on dissecting each and every single one of these as they lie and where the opportunity actually sits within each individual sector of real estate. Today is made to be able to inform you and help you understand where opportunity comes from and where it lies right now in California and how to start taking advantage of some of that. And then we'll start deep diving into some of the specific business models that you need to be paying attention to right now and some of the catastrophic issues that people aren't even thinking and talking about when it comes to credit, leases, foreclosures, when it comes to rebuilding brick and mortar businesses, business owners, insurance claims, all of this stuff and more. We'll go ahead and dissect for you guys over the course of the next couple weeks. Now, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're going to want to, need to, and have to be able to get this information. And make sure you guys comment below. Let me know what concerns you have so that this way I can continue producing more content around the redevelopment and restructuring of Los Angeles, the Palisades, the coastal areas along Malibu, and all of what's happening in California. Now let's get started. So let's take a look at opportunity. I'm going to run through these really quick because there's a reality behind all of this that I actually want to talk to you guys about on California. There's some insight that I really want to give you guys. I don't want to teach you about foreclosures. I don't want to teach you guys about short sales. I don't want to teach you guys about distressed property. I just want to give you guys the opportunity to understand that there's opportunity with foreclosed sales. There's going to be the reality that people cannot pay back the money on their houses that no longer exist, and it's just a piece of land anymore. There's a reality behind that. There's a short sales perspective for those properties that are still standing but have so much excess devastation to them that you can't even afford to rebuild these properties, and they themselves don't want the properties anymore, so the banks are going to be forced to sell these properties short on behalf of the owners prior to foreclosure. And a lot of banks want to do this because they don't want the distress on their books, and there's going to be massive distress from the insurance companies, the lenders, from the individual perspective, all these perspectives, and these are going to give open doors for opportunity for rebuilding in the California market. There's going to be distress sales where areas that have been devoured. Guys, you go to the Palisades, oh my goodness, you go through the Palisades, that Palisades fires was so catastrophic, it's unbelievable. And so when you go into all the areas that were affected by the Palisades fire, you're going to realize that there's some properties that are standing, not standing. There's going to be entire neighborhoods that have been devoured. You go down the Malibu coast, all of that stuff is in financial distress and physical distress, more so than financial distress, but they both run hand in hand in the California fires. The land opportunities that are going to exist because they're going to have to just scrape these structures. And so there's no longer a dwelling or an asset that exists anymore. Now it's raw land, and the raw land itself is really where the opportunity lies in the vast majority of a lot of these assets. So when I talk about buying land and building houses, guys, look, the community that we've built right now is so much more important than anything else in the world, because that community with talents and attributes that we've been working with them on, training them on, understanding the process of being able to go in and buy a piece of dirt and build a house or build multifamily and build commercial assets is an attribute right now. This right here for me is a godsend because we can go in and help rebuild from the ground up. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take people that have the knowing knowledge, the willingness, the wanting, the desire to be able to go in and take advantage of the land opportunity out there for the rebuild of it. The visual perspective of California is going to have to rebuild in its entirety. It's going to be completely different. Is it going to be better? I don't know. You know, the goal is to rebuild better, right? But it's too early to tell. Let's see how the governing bodies actually either either affect this or help this move forward, okay? Legislation is going to be a big deal this year. Now, there's residential opportunity. The residential opportunity is where the vast majority of people that are watching this video are paying attention to right now, because that's where their cusp of mental comprehension really exists. That's not where the largest financial opportunity lies. The residential opportunity is real, and the residential opportunity exists. But where the real money comes into play is in the retail, the warehouses, the multifamily, and the commercial assets, ladies and gentlemen, because these right here are the cash producing assets. So it's all commercial assets. I left office off there because office sucks. Don't even deal with office. Let the big guys that have the bandwidth for office, let those guys do that. Focus on these items right here: multifamily, warehouse, and retail. Okay, now there's a residential perspective to this where we're talking about ADUs, where we're talking about duplexes, we're talking about triplexes, and we're talking about fourplexes. Okay, these are all residential, guys. These need to be paid attention to as well. There's big opportunity here in the residential sector right now, but there's more opportunity in these three sectors. There's a reality behind the rebuild perspective of both retail, warehouse, and multifamily, but there's also a perspective of financial distress in some of the retail that's still sitting. I saw brick buildings that were sitting there with really strong structures that you can go in, probably pick a lot of this stuff up on owner finance contracts, or you might even be able to assume some of these, or even sub to, or you can go in and negotiate with a bank where you actually do an assumption and a restructure of through that assumption, where the note is completely restructured and there's an assumption of that note from the prior owners for you to go in and buy that distressed property at a discounted price. Guys, discounted price. Now, here's the biggest issue that I find. I found this out when I got my auto dealer's license in 2008 during the financial recession. We decided to go out, get our dealer's license since we own commercial property, and buy our fleet vehicles from the auction, not realizing there's actually a lot of money in automobiles at that time. So we were going out and we were buying these used vehicles, and there was $4,000 to $6,000 in upside in every single one. So instead of going to Phoenix and renting a car, I would literally fly in at 6 a.m. in the morning, go straight over to the auctions, buy a vehicle, and then drive it around Phoenix, drive it home, and come home and make $6,000 for the day off the vehicle that I would purchase, right? And one thing that I learned is that anytime they had a public auction and they opened it up to the public and not the professionals, everybody thought that because there was an auction out there that every deal was a good deal. And they forgot the single largest concept that makes sense. They forgot to look at the NADA values of these cars, and almost 80% or greater of the purchases that were going across that block that day were going in excess of retail value because of the lack of sophistication and information that the average sedentary individual had. So the reason I educate you guys on this is so that that is not you. I don't want anybody on here to be that person. I want 100% of everybody watching this video today to be sophisticated enough to understand that you have to look at the reality of resale comps in an area. Now, areas are catastrophically gone, guys. There's going to be miles of real estate that are in distress, but we still have to look at what the market value was prior to this devastation, because believe you me, the market values are going to drop, but they're going to go right back up to where they were. And in 15 years from now, 10 years from now, 7 years from now, they're going to catapult over what you think was the high-end value of these areas are going to catapult higher and exceed the current market value. I watched it back in the late 1990s. Then I watched it again in the 2008 recession, and I watched it again during the pandemic, and it's going to happen again in these coastal areas with this mass devastation and the rebuild efforts as this plateaus and stabilizes in the course of time. Okay, so now let's look at the opportunity behind each of these assets and what you should be paying attention to in the LA market right now, okay? Definitely need to be paying attention to land. All you got to do is take the retail value of what the houses were in those areas. There's going to be some buffer zone opportunity where there was single-family residential lots. And when you look at it from a single-family residential lot perspective, it's going to feel like that land is overpriced, and it's going to be a far stretch from our business model for safety because of the high-end values. But when you take that land in a buffer zone, which is a zone right in between commercial and residential property, even on the coast, right on Malibu, you're going to find out that there's going to be opportunity for you to go in and maybe build a duplex, a fourplex, or some multi-unit or dense housing. So you can go in and increase your density, meaning that when you do a dividend of pad sites, meaning that when you put in more pad sites on each of these pieces of land, it increases the overall value of the land, but it also decreases the individual expense and cost to be able to go in and execute on your single family developments and repositioning of this land. So the short plat efforts, being able to turn dirt into dollars by subdividing land or short platting, or just condoing a unit, which means there's no short plat. That means you don't have to subdivide, is going to be an opportunity with land. okay? That's one. Now, residential, the rebuild efforts. There's gonna be opportunity that you're gonna find distressed dirts and short sales and foreclosures where when you come in, you need to be paying attention to all of this stuff, right? And so when you go in and you look at residential, the rebuild efforts are gonna be real, where you can go in and get a piece of land now in LA, especially when you go into like Pasadena, you go into places in the Palisades, you go into places right in the heart of LA, and you go and purchase the piece of land. What's gonna happen is it's gonna be the land value minus the cleanup effort is gonna be the value of that land. So what you have to do is you have to take fair market value cost of that land minus the cost of the cleanup effort to go in and mitigate all of the burnt debris, the concrete, the foundations, the underground plumbing, all of that stuff has to come out. Once that stuff comes out and now you have a clean lot to work with, then that's the price and value of that piece of land. So anything below that is upside profit in that land. So there's gonna be a rebuild effort that's real when we talk about this, okay? Now, I'm gonna talk to you guys about how to find this stuff here at the end of the video, but there's no need to talk about how to find it if you don't know what to find. So first, let's talk about what to find, where opportunity lies, and then let's talk about how to find it, okay? Now, let's go into the retail sector. This is a big, big sector, guys. The brick and mortar world is going to be devastated. I'm gonna do a video in itself just talking about the devastation and the rebuild efforts for business owners on the retail sector and the reality behind it and how they need to reposition their businesses from where they are at right now out of it. There's gonna be buildings that are worth nothing to the banks, guys. Retailers are gonna flee, okay? And because they're fleeing, because there's no business for them, they can't make money there, they're gonna go in and the retail efforts, there's gonna be massive financial distress in the retail sector, but it's needed in these neighborhoods. So the rebuild efforts are real. So you can go in and you can work through the opportunity of just the entitlements of buying this financially distressed land or assets that are partially burnt, fully burnt. Go in and the repositioning efforts of this retail are going to be massive. The opportunity where neighborhoods have been devoured and now there's just empty buildings that weren't burnt, you might be able to pick these up through owner financing. You can pick them up through short sales, foreclosures, but the efforts to be able to go in and renovate these properties and get the upside profits are massive. This is where we started, guys. This is where our commercial career started. There's going to be so much opportunity. You can go in and pick up these buildings at under $100 per square foot. And if there's just land on there, then you can go in and pick some of this stuff up for just the land value minus the cleanup efforts, and then you can go in and rebuild. Or you can go in and buy some of this stuff for under $100 a square foot. There's going to be opportunity to come in, put a new front facade, make it look gorgeous and beautiful. For those that are built out of block and brick, you can go in and utilize a solid structure, redo the windows, the store facade, and for a modest amount, go in and re-stabilize that asset. And when you go in and re-stabilize that asset, the upside value is going to be exponential, and it has an infinite return because now you have rents that go forever, okay? That's where you want to be. You want to have those rents that go forever. And in small retail assets, under 50,000 square feet, there's money in these cash flow all day long. Now, warehouses are real. There's never going to be a lack of need for warehouses. Right now, especially, the warehouse sector is important. Now, I don't go in and I don't advocate for office, but I will tell you guys that office warehouse is a great asset class. There's going to be a reality to it. Where some of these restaurants are going to need places to go in, they're going to rely on catering revenue. They're going to rely on food truck revenue. They're going to rely on a lot of different stuff. And these warehouses always going to be a need for warehouse and office warehouse. And the multifamily sector, the housing opportunity that exists in California right now because of the fires is absolutely unbelievable, guys. Now, the efforts to be able to rebuild this, it's going to take 3 years to get all the permits, especially the Coastal Commission, okay? So when we talk about this, where the opportunity lies, this right here, guys, is going to take 3 years. This right here will take 1 to 2 years, depending on what's going on with the property and the residents. California is going to be forced to hire plan review agents. They're going to be forced to hire inspectors. They're going to be forced to grow the infrastructure of their planning, zoning, and building department to be able to take on the rebuild efforts of what's happening in California right now, okay? And so when this happens, we hope that we see a reduction in this. But the Coastal Commission is real. Guys, you want a long-term play, go to the coast. You want a shorter-term play for quicker returns, go inner city, okay? The Coastal Commission is no fun. I'll be the first to tell you that the second you start dealing with the Coastal Commission, it's entirely different than the Building and Zoning Department. Who knows where their heads are right now? And in California, guys, truth be told, I have absolutely no idea where their heads were before all this catastrophic issues happened, and I really don't know where their heads are now. All I know is there's going to be a lot of justification of what happened, and there's going to be a reality to the length of time it takes to re-permit and reposition some of these assets, especially on the coastal side of things. Now, if you want to get a steal on some of the stuff that was catastrophic, just know that you're going to sit in it for 3 years and be okay with it. And if you're in a position financially where you can sit in it for 3 years, the upside potential is exponential. There's going to be a ton of upside potential on the coastal redevelopment of Malibu, guys, hands down. Retail, residential, warehouse, multifamily, you name it, there's going to be opportunity coastal. It's just going to be long-term profits. Inner city, quicker. We don't have to deal with coastal commissions. They're going to be forced to have to push out these permits, and plan reviewers are going to be forced to have to get this stuff out and into the market. And even at that, it's going to be a 1 to 2 year rebuild period that it's going to take to make that happen. Now, when we go in, there's a reality to the insurance companies. I feel like I have diarrhea of the mouth right now. My brain is going 5,000 directions because I could sit here and do a 1-hour video on the insurance opportunity in itself. I can do a 1-hour video on the foreclosure opportunities in itself. I can go in and do a 1-hour video on the credit issues that are going to exist in itself. And now, in the credit issues alone, I have these things blanketed on paper here. There's going to be an issue with homelessness. There's going to be business owners' issues with credit. There's going to be people that just say, the hell with it, and they're just going to leave. There's going to be credit issues with homeowners, business owners, and how to rebuild their credit, guys. I'm going to go through a whole video on just that alone. There's a whole hour video that I can talk about with the land opportunities here and the remodel opportunities here on specific lots, okay? And so this is an overall synapse and summary, ladies and gentlemen, of where the opportunity lies. Just understand that in this sector alone, there is massive opportunity, and I'm going to do a video on the opportunity that exists just in this sector alone that'll last at least 30 minutes, okay? We'll consolidate it for you guys. There's going to be another video that I can do on just the land opportunity in itself. We're going to talk more about this as well. There's going to be an entire reality behind how to go in and take advantage of retail all in itself, guys, just retail. There's going to be a multifamily effort and a video just on this, and then the residential single family effort. And then there's going to be a full video I do just on the insurance, guys, and what the reality of what's going to happen with insurance. Now, where you find this, as I promised before, to find these assets is one of the most important things that you need to know how to do. And your ability to exercise and nurture relationships is more important now than ever in the professional sector of rebuilding the California market that was affected by the fires. And here's how. You're going to need to go out and do an outreach to wholesalers, and you need to have wholesalers working on your behalf, because these guys are skip tracing. They're skip tracing who the owners are, who owns the land, who the banks are, what the financial distress is on these properties. They're going to be the ones that are going to find you the detailed information on the back end of what's going on that most people won't have information to. The wholesalers are going to be extremely important. The residential and commercial real estate brokers are going to be really important in this effort as well. And it's going to be the sophisticated ones. It's not going to be the ones that got their license this past year. It's going to be the ones that have been in the market, been in the business for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. They know this LA market like the back of their hand. You're going to need to rely on these folks for, one, the bandwidth for some of this opportunity that's coming to the market. They're going to have it, and they're going to go first. Before it goes to the open market, it's going to go to those who have the bandwidth of taking these assets down, and it's going to be the ones that have the least resistance. No loans, cash purchases, owner financing, loan assumptions, sub-2, all of the creative financing methods that can take ownership of these assets for repositioning efforts are going to be the ones that take advantage of this opportunity through the broker side of things. And last but not least, the bankers. The bankers, these assets, guys, they're going to be coming back to the market. And the bankers don't want these on their books. And if they can go through any effort to keep these from going into foreclosures, they're going to do so. So the short sale and the distressed asset sales, these right here are going to be coming from the bankers, guys. These are going to be coming from the bankers, okay? These will come from brokers. This stuff will come from wholesalers. This stuff will come from a mixture of brokers and wholesalers. But the bankers, guys, these short sales and these distressed sales are coming from the bankers. You got to get in with lenders, commercial lenders, residential lenders, the lenders that are actually the underwriters, the ones that are going in and facilitating the negotiations from these distressed properties. These three sectors are what you need to be paying attention to. These real estate meetups you all go to, these are the professionals you need to be paying attention to. When you guys go in and you guys are networking at events, these are the professionals you guys need to be paying attention to. If you're one of these professionals, you need to get your head right and make sure that you have the information that these investors need, want, and are required to have to help in the rebuild efforts of California. It's important that you guys pay attention to all of these sectors of real estate and these three professionals, because this is your bandwidth and gateway to enter the market and go in and press for profits in 2025, rebuilding Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, for more content just like this, to go in and watch the series of videos that I'm about to produce on where opportunity lies in Los Angeles, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash that thumbs up button, and always remember to comment down below on what your thoughts are, what you're in need of as far as information, and I'll go in and produce it for you, but we can't reproduce what we don't have. So comment below and go out there and compound your success. God bless, and prayers and blessings over all the people that are in financial distress in Los Angeles. Now let's go out and with our efforts, rebuild for a better Los Angeles. God bless and have a great weekend.